Chapter 4, Jack the Cat and Little Caesar. Dom was the good-looking one. Charles was the one with glasses. Most people didn't even realize they were twins, much less brothers. Early on, Charles learned how to please in a way that required no praise. How to be no problem at all. How to be Charles works independently and gets along well with others. How to be low to no maintenance. How to smile and reassure people and for all intents and purposes, disappear entirely. He did his classwork. He behaved. He followed instructions well. He gave not an inch of purchase for complaint. Dom followed a different path, but Dom could. People noticed Dom. People were drawn to Dom. Dom was the good-looking one. He raised a little hell. He had a bit of a mouth that could sometimes get him into trouble, but usually the right kind of trouble. Early on, Dom learned the power of quiet. Staying quiet made him popular. Staying quiet gave him gravity and weight among other kids, especially boys, even older ones. Just a smirk of approval could set an entire chain reaction of social hierarchy in motion. Dom was the good-looking one. Charles was the one with glasses. Brett's dad played in the minors and would have made the majors if it weren't for his hip. That was the story. But in fourth grade, that came to life when they went to Angels Stadium when the Tigers were in town. Brett's dad was in the Tigers system. They went early and ended up right on the field with the huge empty stadium all around them. One of the Tigers players came up to Brett's dad, and they hugged like brothers and talked a while. And then his dad called Brett over and said, "Brett, this is Jack the Cat Morris." And Jack the Cat took off his dark blue cap with the scripted D on it, signed his name on the bill, and plopped it right on Brett's head. And Brett had never smiled like that in his entire life. It was like the whole stadium was inside of him. And his dad was laughing that laugh Brett loved, and it was almost more than he could take. From early on, Brett could see an obvious path that wasn't clear to most people. It was easy, almost too easy. It was so easy, it was almost as if it didn't really happen. Other people couldn't seem to acknowledge it. He could do math problems in a way that was different from the way the teacher was explaining. His way was better. Here was the answer. It was the same. He played football in middle school, but didn't start. He was on special teams and a backup middle linebacker. At practice, Brett could outrun any starter on the team, but still he didn't start except once he got into play the second half of a game when they were way behind. He cut around behind the left tackle and the guard and hit the quarterback untouched. Then he sacked the quarterback 6 more times, and it was like the coach didn't even notice. Never said so much as "nice job." And the next game, Brett was back standing around on the sideline. He started watching his mom make dinner and then helping with certain tasks until one night he straight up made dinner on his own. He made stir fry, and it came out pretty nice. From there, he started going through their cookbooks and picking out recipes. He tried out a bunch of different things, and they turned out great for the most part. He did that for a month or so and got pretty good at it, but his mom and little brother didn't seem to think it was a big deal at all. They said they liked it when he asked, and his mom even did the dishes herself a few times because Brett had done all the cooking, but that was really it. Then midway through 9th grade, a new kid moved into school. His name was Dom. He sat next to Brett in biology, and Dom started making fart noises whenever the teacher wrote on the board, and it was hilarious because the teacher couldn't figure out who it was. Then it turned out Dom was in Brett's gym class, and the two of them absolutely took over the volleyball unit. I mean, they were unstoppable. They'd set each other, fake spikes perfectly, make diving saves that turned into perfect passes, and run the table on rallies that sometimes meant the other team never even served once. They were instant friends. They started going to intramural volleyball on Tuesday nights, and they dominated there too. Even the seniors couldn't touch them. They were in their own league, their own stratosphere. They'd hang out at Brett's house, and Dom's twin brother Charles would come too. They'd watch shows, make giant ice cream sundaes, make prank calls, practice volleyball. Dom and Charles would eat over for dinner a lot. Brett's mother liked them both, especially Charles. And everything changed for Brett. He walked the halls differently. He sat in class differently. He'd find himself at Dom's locker, leaning easily against the wall, talking loud, laughing, looking around, nodding his head. But then they left. Dom and Charles's mom lost her job, and they had to go back to the high desert. Volleyball wasn't the same without them, and soon Brett stopped going. After school, Charles walked over to where the restaurants were. He went into each store, asked for the manager, and got an application. That night, someone from Little Caesars called. He took good notes from his training and asked a lot of questions. He reviewed the notes that night and during school the next day. They started him out assembling pizza boxes. Without the slightest attitude or complaint, he put his head down and got to work. An hour later, the manager came in and nearly fell over. "Whoa! How many did you do?" the manager asked. "All of them, I guess," Charles replied. "Oh, I also cleaned up the storeroom so I could fit them all. I hope that's okay." Every job Charles took on, it was the same. He cleaned the hell out of the dishes. He made the bathrooms look like new. He mopped, swept, and scrubbed. He took out the garbage and cleaned up the area around the dumpsters when he did. He strained the fry grease and cleaned the walk-in freezer. And the glow started to form. He could feel the approval of the managers and assistant managers. He could sense the buzz about him. He felt it like heat lamps were on him whenever he walked in the door. They trained him on the ovens, and he took to it like a savant, took to it with aplomb, honest-to-God joy. They couldn't believe how good he was at it. He made even the heaviest rushes run seamlessly, and that glow only intensified. Then they tried him on customer duty, and my God, the one with glasses, the one who barely got noticed, made customers feel they were completely heard, taken care of, appreciated, even liked. The managers joked that he should work at the suicide hotline. After 4 months, they made him assistant manager and had him working Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, their busiest times. He started missing school, too, even 3 days a week, but that was easy to manage. He'd bring slips home to his mother who'd signed them without reading. Hell, she and Dom were thrilled because Charles brought home pizza every night. It became a given that there were always pizzas stacked in the fridge. Dom would invite buddies over and call in requests. Charles's mom did the same. Charles brought in his pay stubs and the cable bill as proof of address and opened an account at the bank across from the store. He got one of his coworkers to teach him how to drive, and then he tested for and got his license. Then he called ads from the classified, and after some negotiation, bought a used Honda with 130,000 miles on it. After their power got cut off at home, he started paying the power bill. He taught Dom how to drive and took him to the DMV to get his license. Graduation came and went, and Charles barely noticed. He hadn't been to school in months. Brett got into cars and winemaking. His mother had a work party at the CEO's place out in Calabasas, and the guy had 4 sports cars and a wine cellar. Brett spent 45 minutes with the guy and even got to sit in the Fiero and start her up. Brett started buying car magazines and putting posters of sports cars on his wall. He quickly got so he could identify any car on site, rattling off brands and horsepower and engine capacity whenever they rode the freeway. He got a book on winemaking from the library and then bought tubes and buckets and brushes at the hardware store, then 50 pounds of grapes and started fermenting in his closet. It actually worked, too. He gave a bottle to his mom to bring to the CEO and get his feedback on it. His senior year, his mom bought a new car and let Brett have the old one, provided he drive his brother to school and soccer practices. Brett got a job at the Tower Records and almost overnight got into music big time. Some of the guys who worked there were huge music buffs, and a group of customers would come in a lot to talk music too. Brett started reading Rolling Stone and Spin and Mojo. He loved Mojo. He got into the alternative stuff hard. He'd debate the classic rock guys, saying he'd put John McKay from Susie and the Banshees up against Keith Richards any day of the week. But eventually he got let go because the manager said he spent too much time talking. Brett challenged him to find a single task that hadn't gotten done, but the guy didn't listen. Brett graduated high school and enrolled in the community college. He started classes in accounting and economics, figuring he'd start his own business. Then he came home one day, and his mom had news. "Do you remember Charles Galapagos?" she asked. "Dom's brother? He called me today." "He called you?" Brett responded. "He just got a job at HealthNet in Northridge and wanted to know if he could stay with us until he got his own place." I told him yes. That weekend, Brett drove up to Victorville and picked up Charles and his stuff. He even saw Dom briefly, too. Charles left his car behind because it was now the only one his family had. He had bought new air conditioner units, too. That night, Charles and Brett shared the double bed in Brett's room. Brett made space in his closet for all Charles's work clothes. And then that Monday, Brett drove Charles to work in the morning and picked him up in the evening. They got into a nice rhythm. Charles was great at operating the radio. He could identify a song the second he heard it. And it turned out he liked alternative rock too, so they jammed to The Cure, Depeche Mode, Oingo Boingo, and Charles loved hearing all the facts Brett knew about each band. That situation went on for almost 6 months before Charles had finally saved up enough for a down payment on a car. They talked about it at great length, and Brett did loads of research until he landed on the perfect choice. A Dodge Shadow, preferably in red. Interior, a car dealership. The place is entirely empty. Max, a salesman, and Raymond, the manager, both stare out the window. It is pouring rain. Max, God fucking damn it, the rain fucked us. Raymond, we're never going to hit this month's numbers. Max, I'm so close and now this? Fuck. Raymond, there's still that appointment. Max, that guy who came in through Mr. Watts, hasn't he canceled like 3 times? Jerking us around. Raymond, this guy faxed the boss to make the appointment. Who buys a car by fax? Max, whatever. This guy wants me to jerk him off? Fine. Free jerk off for qualified buyer. They both laugh. The door opens. 2 teenagers walk in. Preppy Kid and Surfer Kid. Preppy Kid, hi. I'm Charles Galapagos. I believe I have an appointment today. I made it through Mr. Watts. Max, seriously? Preppy Kid, is there a problem? Max, come on. This isn't a joyride, okay? Here, take a lollipop and go. Preppy Kid, oh, I get it. I totally get it. I'm young. We're young, for sure. But I really am here, hopefully, to buy a car, assuming the deal is right. Cut to 15 minutes later. Preppy Kid and Surfer Kid return from the test drive. Max follows them looking annoyed. Surfer Kid, I really like how it handles. It's got a 35-foot turning circle, right? Max, what? Seriously? Yeah, that's right. They stand awkwardly for a long minute. Max, do you guys want to come sit down at my desk? Preppy Kid, sure, that'd be great. I'm definitely interested, but I do have some concerns about the sticker price. Max, you do, huh? Preppy Kid, I was looking at comps and I think you should be able to come down at least $4,400. Max, look, I've been really nice to you boys, but you need a job to buy a car. You need income. You need credit history. Preppy Kid, oh, 100%. Absolutely. So is that a yes to the $4,400? Max, seriously, I don't have time for this. I've got bills to pay in the real world. Preppy Kid, do you need to talk to your manager to make that kind of deal? He and Surfer Kid both turn and wave to Raymond. Raymond, coming over. Is there a problem? Preppy Kid, oh no problem at all, none whatsoever. We were just telling your associate that if you would be able to take $4,400 off the sticker price, I would be willing to buy. Raymond, oh, you would you? Preppy Kid, absolutely. Yup. Raymond, you know you need an income, right? And not part-time folding clothes at the Gap? Preppy Kid, oh, I totally understand. 1,000% I do for sure. If you're not interested, I'll take my business elsewhere. Surfer Kid, and fax Mr. Watts that we were turned away. Preppy Kid, oh, I don't think that's necessary, but I would. Raymond, fine. Kid, if you can meet our credit approval and have a down payment of more than $10, we will take $4,400 off the sticker price. Preppy Kid, pulling out a folder from his backpack. Great. So this is my current pay stub as a customer service specialist and a letter from my human resources department confirming my employment and that I've been commended 4 times in the past 6 months. And here are my W-2s from the past 3 years. Oh, and no need for a credit report. This is a letter from my bank confirming that I'm pre-approved for financing through them. And there's a number to call right there if there's any concern in accepting a personal check for the down payment. Cut to interior. A Dodge Shadow. Surfer Kid is behind the wheel. Preppy Kid rides shotgun. Both have lollipops in their mouth. The car revs and then smoothly exits the dealer lot. Surfer Kid, I do like how this handles. Yo, put on some tunes. Preppy Kid, right. Turns on radio. Here we go. Oh, yes, perfect. Surfer Kid, what? How can you possibly do that so fast? Preppy Kid, you're going to love this. Perfect. Yup. Turning it up now. Pull back to exterior shot. The car reaches the entrance to the 5 freeway, melts into traffic, and then launches down the freeway. Fade out to The Passenger by Susie and the Banshees.
If I get hungry, I am gonna get something to eat. If I feel empty, I just wanna fill it up to here. And I want you to be